Daily Bible reading, 2 Kings chapter 13. In the 23rd year of King Joash, son of Ahaziah of Judah, Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, became king over Israel and Samaria for 17 years. He did what was displeasing to the Lord. He persisted in the sins which Jeroboam, son of Nebat, had caused Israel to commit. He did not depart from them. The Lord was angry with Israel, and he repeatedly delivered them into the hands of King Hazael of Aram, and into the hands of Ben-Hadad, son of Hazael. But Jehoahaz pleaded with the Lord, and the Lord listened to him, for he saw the suffering that the king of Aram inflicted upon Israel. So the Lord granted Israel a deliverer, and they gained their freedom from Aram, and Israel dwelt in its homes as before. However, they did not depart from the sins which the house of Jeroboam had caused Israel to commit. They persisted in them. Even the sacred post stood in Samaria. In fact, Jehoahaz was left with a force of only 50 horsemen, 10 chariots, and 10,000 foot soldiers, for the king of Aram had decimated them and trampled them like the dust under his feet. The other events of Jehoahaz's reign and all his actions and his exploits are recorded in the annals of the kings of Israel. Jehoahaz slept with his fathers, and he was buried in Samaria. His son Joash succeeded him as king. In the 37th year of King Joash of Judah, Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, became king of Israel in Samaria for 16 years. He did what was displeasing to the Lord. He did not depart from any of the sins which Jeroboam, son of Nebat, had caused Israel to commit. He persisted in them. The other events of Joash's reign and all his actions and his exploits in his war with King Amaziah of Judah are recorded in the annals of the kings of Israel. Joash slept with his fathers, and Jeroboam occupied his throne. Joash was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. Elisha had been stricken with the illness of which he was to die, and King Joash of Israel went down to see him. He wept over him and cried, "Father, Father, Israel's chariots and horsemen." Elisha said to him, "Get a bow and arrows." And he brought him a bow and arrows. Then he said to the king of Israel, "Grasp the bow." And when he had grasped it, Elisha put his hands over the king's hands. "Open the window toward the east," he said, and he opened it. Elisha said, "Shoot," and he shot. Then he said, "An arrow of victory for the Lord, an arrow of victory over Aram. You shall rout Aram completely at Aphek." He said, "Now pick up the arrows," and he picked them up. "Strike the ground," he said to the king of Israel, and he struck 3 times and stopped. The man of God was angry with him and said to him, "If only you had struck 5 or 6 times, then you would have annihilated Aram. As it is, you shall defeat Aram only 3 times." Elisha died, and he was buried. Now bands of Moabites used to invade the land at the coming of every year. Once a man was being buried when the people caught sight of such a band. So they threw the corpse into Elisha's grave and made off. When the dead man came in contact with Elisha's bones, he came to life and stood up. King Hazael of Aram had oppressed the Israelites throughout the reign of Jehoahaz. But the Lord was gracious and merciful to them, and he turned back to them for the sake of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He refrained from destroying them, and he still did not cast them out from his presence. When King Hazael of Aram died, his son Ben-Hadad succeeded him as king. And then Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, recovered from Ben-Hadad, son of Hazael, the towns which had been taken from his father Jehoahaz in war. 3 times Joash defeated him, and he recovered the towns of Israel.